inside the box, can you see the way it's plastic lined already? Now the hat boxes, you can get these in the likes of Dunnes Stores, Marks and Spencer's, and even Deals. You know Deals, and they have everything for $1.49. They have a lovely red one at the moment in the shape of a heart.
Elaine has one there. Have you,
Brilliant!
Yeah.
Fair play to you, Elaine. I'll tell you, Elaine's on the ball, she is. So if your hat box isn't plastic lined on the inside, what you could do is you could put a posy dish, or you know, like a saucer or a side plate. You could put something in the end of it, and that's just to stop the water dripping out of it.
Just the one Elaine has is actually quite tall, so I'd sort of say put some sort of a box.
Yeah, if you have
a butter dish, or
you know,
something.
like, yeah, an upturned butter dish is perfect. Or you know, styrofoam, you know that white stuff that you get packed around cookers and washing machines when you buy them. If there's a local DID or electrical shop near you, they normally have loads of it, and you could pack in the end of it a bit of styrofoam and then put your dish on, and it just brings it up a little bit higher, because if your hat box is very high, your oasis is down very low in the bottom, and it means that you have to put extra oasis into it. So what you're then going to do, and you probably need to measure your block of oasis across the box there, and then you're going to cut a bit of foam, and you're going to have it wet. This one's not wet yet, and the idea is, do you see the way it fits down into your box? Perfect, okay? And the pieces that you have left over, see the way there's like a bit left over, you could cut that in half again. And again, you could pack in the sides there. I'll actually only get one of them in. And there it is. Do you see that it's packed? So nothing can fall out, and hopefully some of you won't turn it upside down, and it'll be absolutely fine. Like, there's no need to strap that in. Now you're supposed to wet that first, okay? I haven't got it wet. That's just a demonstration of how you get your oasis into your basket, into your hat box. So I've one in the oven. So here we have our hat box. And this is the larger one, okay, so I was able to fit, you see, the extra little wedge piece that was left over. And this has all been soaked, because it's quite heavy, it is, but it means it's holding lots of water, and it's going to stay fresh for ages. Now with these hat boxes, I think the lid is absolutely gorgeous. So what I want to do is include the lid into the flower arrangement. Now I know, I'm looking for sellotape, Deirdre. I know all the beautician shops are closed at the moment, but this is a waxing stick. You know when you go to get your legs waxed, okay? This is a waxing stick, but a lollipop stick will do the same job. So in your fridge, if you have a couple of ice pops, go and have an ice pop for yourself and keep the stick when you're finished. But also, if you do go to Deals, they're selling lollipop sticks for kids to do arts and crafts, and they're big lollipop sticks. They're nearly as big as these, and they're only $1.49 for a big packet of them. So what I'm going to do is onto the front of the box, but not up too high, okay? And using some sellotape, I'm going to sellotape this lollipop stick onto the front of the box. Do you see, like that there? And I'm just going to put another one on to be sure, and we put another one to be sure. Oops, daisy, stuck to myself here. And I'm putting another one on to be sure, because you know what we say in Ireland, to be feckin' well sure. So there we have our lid, and you see where the lollipop stick is on it. So what I'm able to do, into one side of the box then, I'm able to slide the lollipop stick in, and to see the way your lid is actually going to be held, to see in place. And it's just the lid is so nice, it's nice to be able to include it in the flower arrangement. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go out to your garden and you're going to get some greenery. So again, if you don't have greenery in your garden, your neighbour will have greenery in the garden, and I've given permission that you can go into their garden and you can cut a bit of foliage.
And if you're in an apartment, the churches
always have loads of greenery, and listen, nobody's going to the church now, so nobody will see it. And hospital grounds, they always have loads of greenery, and the park, schools, yes, so the schools are closed. Go up to the schools, bring your scissors with you, you just say you're out for the 5k walk, and then you could snip a bit of greenery. Because you don't even need to rob the branch as big as I robbed it. You can, that's all you're looking for. Do you see his pieces about that length there? So if you could go out to your own garden and cut yourself about 15 pieces of greenery, about 15 centimetres, 20 centimetres in length. So there I have them. And these are called eucalyptus. And eucalyptus is a fabulous foliage. Most churches have a eucalyptus tree in the grounds, okay? So you just, and even if it's not your religion, you're still allowed to go in and take it, okay? I'll give absolution at the end of the class. So this is eucalyptus, and the smell of the leaf of eucalyptus is just amazing. So even if you were to break off one or two of these leaves and just crease them up in your fingers and squash them and squeeze them, and then smell your hands afterwards, oh my God, the scent is just amazing. Or even like, say, a branch, and just rest it on the radiator in your sitting room, your kitchen, or your bedroom. The smell in the bedroom will be absolutely fabulous. Or what we also recommend, tie a piece of twine around it. A bit of ribbon will do the same job. You could tie a bow on it, right? Tie the bow on it and tie it out your shower head. You know, in the bathroom. Tie it with the ribbon. Tie that now onto the shower head. And when you have a shower, the smell of eucalyptus, when the hot water goes on it, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I tell you, there'll be no COVID. You'll be absolutely perfect, you will. So we have all the greenery cut up, okay? So you went out to the garden and you've taken all the, as I said, about maybe 15, 18 pieces of greenery. And what you're going to do is stick it down into the foam, but keep it close to the edge of the hat box. Do you see where that piece is in there? That's quite close to the edge of the hat box. And before you stick a piece in, it's a good idea to take off the leaves. Do you see that's at the very bottom? And again, I'm just going to stick in another piece. And this one has the leaves already off, and I'm going to stick in another piece. So basically what I'm doing is I'm working my way around the edge of the hat box. If there's leaves at the bottom, I'm taking them off, and I'm allowing the leaves to kind of like rest lightly over. Can you see the edge of your box all the way around? Now if your neighbour hasn't got, or the church hasn't got eucalyptus, another great greenery that they would have growing is Pittosporum, and that's absolutely fabulous. But you know what works really well is ivy. And everybody knows a now lane beside you, and there's ivy kind of growing in the lane up on somebody's wall, and so they'd be absolutely thrilled for you to go and give the ivy a trim for them. So ivy would work, you know what I mean, would work out absolutely perfect as well. So I'll just hold that up for you just to let you see the way I just went around the edge of it. Now just at the back here where I put the lid in, I'm also going to stick one or two little branches just down there as well, just kind of down behind the lid, so it just kind of covers what I call the mechanics, and it makes it look a little bit nicer. Now I'm back around to the front. Now don't worry about the lollipop stick kind of shown there. I have a small little bit of greenery, you can just cut one smaller, and I'm just going to bring it up in the front of the lollipop stick there, you see, just to kind of hide it. And now what I'm going to do is in that little space that's left over, can you see the space where the floral foam is, okay? Using a few more pieces, you may have to cut some of them, this one was a bit long, just a few more pieces, and you're basically going downwards into the hat box and let that look up at the sky. I'm going to cut another piece here, just cut a bit smaller, and down into the floral foam and let it stick up at in the sky. And then we put another one in there, and I think I'll fit another one in there. And you can see that's probably, I'm just going to turn around and have a quick look myself. Yeah, that would be absolutely plenty. I might get one more in there just at the back where the lid is. I'm just going to stand up one more. But I absolutely think that's going to be plenty. I'm just looking at this corner here. I'm saying to you, I think that's plenty. And then I'm saying, actually, do you know what, Jeanette? Stick another one in there to be on the safe side. It's better to stick another one in. And that's what it looks like so far. Do you see the way it's covered in? And if you're using the ivy out of your own garden, that'll actually fill in even faster, it will. So, like, that looks lovely even as it is without putting any flowers in it. Now, flower-wise, what I have is a couple of tulips, right? Now this is where there's about 13 tulips here. They normally sell them in bunches of 10 in the supermarkets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so there's 10 tulips there. Now these are only small because they're only new, they're only fresh, and they will blow open. So if you go to your local Aldi, Lidl, Tesco's, Super Quinn, Super Value, they all sell bunches like that. And in most of the supermarkets, these are about $3.99, sometimes $2.99. Now, you mightn't get away with the 10 of them, okay? So, you could just rob a few out of the other bunch. I'm only slagging. You'll need to buy a second bunch just to give you. Don't go out robbing. I'm not going to visit you in prison when you're locked up, okay? So, what you need is, you know, 1 or 2 bunches of, I'm going to use tulips. I'm going to use roses in another arrangement. As I said, I'm going to do 2 of them here today just to show you. But even if it's daffodils or it's a mixture of flowers, like once you like the colours yourself and they're the flowers that you like, that is the most important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the elastic bands off it. Now there's a lot I'd love to tell you about treatment and conditioning of flowers this evening, but there isn't an awful lot of time, okay? And obviously you're more interested in seeing the flower arrangement. But if you have access to YouTube, go to YouTube after the class tonight now. Go to YouTube and just look up Case Flower School, because we have a YouTube channel and there's loads of like little tips and videos and all that you can watch, and they're all free. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the flowers about the same length as the greenery, and if the leaf falls off like that one did, let it fall off. And I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm going to stick the flower in and just let it rest, you see, over the edge of the hat box. So I'm going to go around to the edge of the hat box, like the way I did the greenery, and I'm going to insert a couple of flowers. Now I'll just tell you one little thing about tulips, okay? Tulips continue to grow. So can you see at the moment the way the tulips are just coming maybe to the edge of the greenery? They're about the same height as the greenery. In a day or two, they will be about another inch and a half over the edge of the greenery. And most people are absolutely amazed by that, because tulips continue to grow once they're getting watered. So it's magical. And if you say that to your customer, they'll be absolutely, they think like you're a wizard, you know, that way, that you're after doing this. But it was going to happen anyway. And it has happened for years and years. It's just that you never realised it because you didn't take any heed before. So you can see already there, I'm on about 6 or 8 tulips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go, 7 tulips around the outside, and maybe 1 coming up just in front of the lids there, you know what I mean, where that lollipop stick was. And again, I'll just hold it like that for you, that you can see how easy that was. So there we have 8 tulips. So that's what I say, the 10 tulips wasn't going to be enough, okay? So then with the rest of the tulips, now again, it can be a different flower if you want. Sometimes what I do is I stand one in the centre, you know that way, the centre of the arrangement, just to start off with. Now remember, these tulips are going to blow open really wide. They're really small and tight today, but that's because they've just come in from the wholesalers. So they're nice and fresh they are. But they will open up and the petals will blow open. And you know when you'll see that lovely black centre in the centre of them. So it'll look like, say even by tomorrow or the next day, once it gets a little bit of heat, because it's quite cold here in the school, once it gets a little bit of heat, all the tulips will blow open and it'll look even fuller with flowers. Now what I'm doing is I'm going around the centre tulip, you know, that I put in, and I'm adding in another 3 or 4 tulips around it, okay? And that's just basically like filling in, filling in, filling in. And that's what we call it here at the school. Like, it's just kind of like looking at the arrangement and maybe saying to yourself, what about putting another flower there? And what about putting another flower there? It's kind of like your eye gets trained. It's like you are making anything and you say, maybe I'll put another bit there, or maybe I'll put another bit there. And I can nearly guarantee you that's the best thing to do. Go on your first instinct and it'll always be the right answer. So you can see there, that's what it's going to look like now with just the 14 tulips used in it. So you can see the 2 bunches would have been too many, but the 1 bunch wouldn't have been enough. Now in a day or two, when that all blows open, it'll probably have plenty of flowers in it. But just for the demonstration, because I knew they were going to be very tight tonight, I'm going to use another flower. And this flower here is called wax flower. It's not a new flower. It is around, but it's probably not a very popular flower. It's maybe one that you haven't seen before. But I bet at some stage you have seen gyp. You know, gypsophila, gypsophilia, gypsy baby spread. And you could use that as well, and it'd be absolutely gorgeous. So what I'm just doing is I'm cutting small little sprigs of it, and in between the tulips, I'm now just going to add it. So out of that 1 stem, you can see I'm able to get loads and loads of pieces. Now some of the pieces have more flower on it, and some of it is a little bit skimpy. Can you see like that? So I have a selection of it. Some of it is still in bud, but I'm cutting that up as well, and I'm cutting these up about 15 or 18 centimetres, and not bit is a little bit smaller. And the very top one, I got kind of like nice big ones to see just there at the top. So that's the 1 stem. It was a big stem now, I will say, it was a big stem. And what I'm now going to do is just here and there, in between the tulips, I'm going to add in the little bit of wax flower. Can you see the difference that's going to make? And it makes it nearly look like a little garden. Now again, you could use gyp instead. And if you haven't got it, it'll be absolutely fine, because I know by tomorrow, when these tulips open, it probably wouldn't have needed the wax flower. But at the moment, like, the wax flower is beautiful, and it does make it look like a real spring, kind of like a garden sort of hat box arrangement. So sorry that you're looking at the back of it for the moment. I just kind of need to look at the front here while I'm adding in all these extra little pieces there, just filling them all in, just getting a little bit of texture in and out through the arrangements. 1 nice piece here, and I'll just keep that for the front. There you go. And I just feel I could do 1 or 2 more little bits. I do have a couple of little bud bits that's still on this stem that I hadn't cut off, but I do have another stem beside me. Now that's a real small stem. Maybe Deirdre was at this one already cutting a bit off it. So I'm just cutting up another few little bits, and I'm just going to add these in. Because I just always feel when you're doing flower arrangements, there's nothing as bad as being mean with something. So again, if you bought the extra tulips, because you would have to buy the 2 bunches to get the 14, you could add in extra tulips in and out through this if you want to. I just wanted to show you what you could do with just a small quantity of flowers. And again, like for Elaine there that's watching, that already has her own hat box, you can see this is not going to cost her an awful lot of money. So that's our first hat box there. Now,